Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Blackwell, and today, though no, it is not Thursday, I'm going to be doing my Thursday reads. So as you'll notice, this should be Saturday when this video is posted. Usually I like to post these on Thursdays, so really I've only done this one other time, but this will be a recurring video series on my channel. But like I said, it is Saturday, not Thursday, and that is because I have been going through a very long process of trying to be evaluated and diagnosed with some mental health diagnoses, I don't know what you say. But I am in that process. It's a very long process, and I actually ended up having 4 appointments this last week that took up a bunch of my time and my emotional and my mental energy. Not to mention, they just completely disrupted my schedule. Because of that, I was not able to film on Wednesday like I usually would have liked to for a Thursday Reads video. Next week, I should be able to get this video up on Thursday. You will notice that this video is severely lacking in any books from my March TBR, and that is because I am mood reading. I don't have the mental capacity. I'm reading a lot, I'm reading a lot of romance and cozies and cozy fantasy. So that's really what I'm in the mood for, and I'm just going with it. I'm trying to be kind to myself, and that's just where we are right now. So without further ado, let's just get into this video, and I can let you know what I have been reading, like what I read last week, what I am currently reading, and what I think I might pick up next. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you do so. All of my social media is linked down below in the description, including my Goodreads, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure to click the like button and comment down below and let me know what you are currently reading. Let's just get into the books that I finished last week, and actually there was 5 of them. So the first book that I finished last week was Ravaged by Monsters by Katie May, and this was a Why Choose monster romance. This is set in a dystopian world, and it was probably like a 4.5 out of 5 on the spice scale. There was a lot of spice. This was a fun time, low plot, high spice monster romance, and honestly, if you are looking for that, this is such a great one to go to. I just had a really fun time turning my brain off and just enjoying the monster smut. This was just fun, and I definitely do recommend if you want something that you can just turn your brain off. If you like dystopian worlds, Why Choose monster romances, check this one out. I gave this one 4 stars because I just really enjoyed it, though obviously there really wasn't much plot or character development going on. There is a second book that has been published in this series, and I think it's going to be a trilogy, but the third book is not out yet. So I am planning on picking up the second book in this series. Next, I finished a cozy fantasy, and that was Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. If I could give this book 6 stars, I would. Heather Fawcett did an amazing job with this book. It was filled with fairy lore from around the world. It was basically written as a field journal. Our main character, Emily Wilde, is a professor or scientist. She studies fairies, and she is trying to write the Encyclopedia of Fairies because there's never been an Encyclopedia of Fairies written before. This is set in like a historical version of our world if our world was like inhabited by fairies. It was really good. I loved the writing. I loved the fairies. I loved just basically everything. It was set in this cozy cottage in Norway, and there was also even a romance, and I adored everything about this book. I've heard some people don't believe this to be cozy because the fae in here are kind of nasty. A lot of the fae are mean, and they're playing tricks or really kind of torturing people. But that is really true of classic fae lore, a lot of it. And so I honestly didn't find that to make it less cozy. I felt like the realisticness of these fae made it more cozy for me. I loved the romance in here. It was so cute. And the characters, like our main character is a super curmudgeon. She just doesn't get people. She doesn't know how to relate to them. She doesn't know how to get them to like her. She doesn't really want to do like any other work other than her actual work. And the aspects of found family, given that nature of this main character, were so adorable. And her love interest, like helping her to relate to other people, was really nice too. And I loved all of the people in this town. I just honestly loved every single thing about this book. The next book I finished was Ivan by Sophie Lark. This is the third book that I've written that was authored by or co-authored by Sophie Lark, and I really enjoyed it. I think this might be my favorite Sophie Lark book that I've read so far. This is a Russian mafia romance. It has the captor-captive trope, the enemies to lovers trope. It's a bit insta-love. It's not super long, just over 200 pages. And it has that Sophie Lark flair. It's just fun. It's a fun read. It's not super dark. For mafia romances, I don't think Sophie Lark is really like on the dark side of dark romance. It's more just technically dark romance. It was just fun. I had a really great time with it. I give it 4 stars. I had a good time. Next, I read a book that I am a bit conflicted about, and that was Enthralled by Gianna Darling. This is the first book in the Enslaved duet. It is a super dark, super dark, super dark. This book is dark.
Dark.
I wouldn't even call it a romance, to be honest.
It's not romantic.
But I couldn't look away. I had to read it. I had to finish it. I read it very fast. I think I'm giving this book 3.5 stars with like a million asterisks. This book is sold as a romance. Number one, just so you know, it does end on a cliffhanger, but I think that there is an HEA at the end of the duet, at the end of the second book. But this is a slave-master relationship, and not one that was like signed up for by both parties necessarily. Our main character is sold to pay for her father's gambling debts. She is sold to her new master for a large sum of money. She does not want to be enslaved. She signs up to do it just to protect her family, because if she doesn't, they will be killed. It's not a consensual slave-master relationship, and huge trigger warnings for sexual assault, rape, abuse, for Stockholm Syndrome, because that's what we're basically watching happen, is our main character is developing Stockholm Syndrome. Now, I'm not sure if that's what Gianna Darling was trying to write. I don't know, because the thoughts and the feelings are so conflicting, but to me it's clearly Stockholm Syndrome. So you're just watching this take place, and I think I consider this to be a smutty, dark suspense story. So I think it is romantic suspense without an HEA that is filled with lots of smut, but it's extremely dark, and it's definitely not for everyone. Just check your trigger warnings for Ivan too, because it's not as dark, but make sure you check your trigger warnings just before going into any dark romance, truly. This is not, like I said, necessarily a romance, but I really enjoyed my time with it. So yeah, super conflicting thoughts on that one. Finally, the most recent book that I read was Keeper of the Enchanted Rooms by Charles Holmberg. Now, I really enjoyed my time with this book. This book technically follows 2 different POVs. We have our main POV is this guy who has inherited this house, but this house is magical. And so he is sent from this like special organization, a housekeeper that is going to help him set up his house, help him try to figure out what kind of magic is in this house, what is causing this house to be magical, whether it be like a ghost or crystals or a spell or whatnot. So she's there to try to figure out the magic of the house, to try to hopefully have him keep the house, because enchanted homes, magical homes are becoming more and more rare, as are magical people. In this world, people that are magical have like certain kinds of abilities. There's like chaotic magic, or there are people who are like empathic, or people who can tell the future, but it explains all of those in like the beginning of the book too. I think there's like a little bit of a glossary. This book was so sweet. There was a romance, and I think that was like the main plot of this book was a romance, but there was a little bit of suspense because we did follow this other character who has like a past, and you see his history from like 20 years ago, and he's like, you kind of see like what's driven him, what he's gone through in his life, but he ain't necessarily the best guy. And so we do have like a villain and a romance, and this enchanted house a beautiful historical setting, and I really like the imagery. This house is set on this island that is like a marshy island off of Rhode Island, and it's just beautiful. I give this book 4 stars. I really, really had a good time. Probably would be closer to a 4.5 star, I would say, but I'm just going to leave it at 4 stars for now, and maybe if I reread it, I'll bump it up, but I really had a great time with this one. This would easily constitute as a cozy as well, a cozy fantasy specifically, and I'm just in my cozy fantasy era right now. I want cozy fantasy and romance and nothing else. I'm having trouble reading series. I really just want those simple, easy to read, fun times. That's really what I want right now. So let's just go ahead and get into the books that I am currently reading. So first of all, I don't want to forget before I talk about these, I am currently reading The House Witch by Della Nash. I'm enjoying it. It's a little bit long for a cozy fantasy, but it's pretty cool. It's set in this magical world, cozy fantasy like Legends and Lattes, where it's set in like this magical world. It feels quite historical, like it's a medieval magical setting. And we follow this house witch, and he gets a position to work as the king's chef. And he starts to get to know the staff, the lords and ladies of the house or the castle, and his cooking is phenomenal. Now, his magic revolves around like cooking and cleaning and the hearth, taking care of the home, and it's really good. Now, he's a bit curmudgeon-y because he really doesn't take any guff. He doesn't like a lot of people in his kitchen. He doesn't want people to know that he is magical. And I would say for this one, the writing is not amazing. I'm pretty sure this is this author's first book, but I could totally be wrong. But that's what it feels like. So the writing is not super high par. Like it's not on like a higher level. I've noticed some inconsistencies, but at the same time, I am loving myself because part of what makes a book cozy for me, one of the biggest things is food, and it is nonstop description of food. Basically, so far, I'm about like 80 something pages into this book, and 95% of this book has taken place in the kitchen, and that is just like ideal for me. Also, the stakes are not high. It's more just like, you know, there's bullying going on here and there, or there's just people not getting along, and those are like the big, so far, plot things in this book. I think there is talk of a coming war, so there may be a larger stakes situation going on later in the book. But so far, it's just really cute, and I am having a fun time. Like I said, the writing is not super high quality, but the story itself is so cozy, so sweet. I'm able to just pick it up and immerse myself into this world, and that's what I want from a cozy fantasy. I'm also reading The Gift of Presence, a mindfulness guide for women by Carolyn Welch. This was given to me by my doctor. I am not far in. I'm on page 18, read 18 pages plus the introduction. I'm really getting a lot from this book already and really enjoying it. I'm reading it very slowly, a few pages here and there, and then trying to practice what I learn from this. It's just about mindfulness, society's impact on women, causing the need for practicing mindfulness, mindfulness and how it relates to women, and just how to practice mindfulness in general. And I'm really enjoying my time with this, taking it slowly, and I'll probably take at least a couple months to read this, to be honest, so that I can just read a couple pages, practice what I learned for a few days, read a couple pages, practice what I learned from there. So that's how I'm taking this, more of like a study, like a textbook, as opposed to like sitting down and trying to finish the whole book. I did read more of Jasmine Throne this week, so I am now on page 80. So obviously I did not make a lot of progress in this, but I am still enjoying this. This follows two main characters, a princess who is being imprisoned and a handmaiden like servant who dreams of freedom. And this world is plagued by this disease or this rot that gets into people and plants. And we also have this like empire that its people may or may not want to overthrow. An Indian inspired epic fantasy. I think there is a sapphic romance in here. And like I said, I'm 80 pages in. The writing is top tier beautiful. I'm loving the writing. I'm enjoying my time whenever I do pick this up. But because I am in a cozy fantasy and romance mood, I'm just not picking it up that often. but still enjoying my time here. I'm reading little by little. We'll see what happens. I thought I would have been done with it by this time, but you know what? That's not where we are right now. And so I will continue this and will continue to give you my thoughts. Finally, I have here The Last to Vanish by Megan Miranda. This is a book that I am buddy reading with my mom. I am now 105 pages in out of 315 or so. So I'm about 33%, like I'm a third of the way through this book now, and I'm having a really good time buddy reading it with my mom. This book is set in the Appalachian Mountains in western North Carolina, in a town where people are known to basically vanish. When a journalist comes to try to discover why people are vanishing, he goes missing too. Our main character works at an inn in this town, and she decides to take it upon herself to try to figure out what's going on. It is a mystery thriller, but probably more on the mystery suspense side of things. Megan Miranda is not like a super thrill-heavy author. She's more kind of like Ruth Ware, where I feel like it's more mystery. But it is definitely a good time. A little dark, but I'm definitely enjoying it. I've liked Megan Miranda's writing in the past, and I think my mom's enjoying it as well. We're having a good time buddy reading it, but we're only really reading a few chapters at a time, just going slowly. So I'll probably still be reading this for at least another week or two. So with all that being said, let's talk about some of the books that I think I might pick up next. Like I said, the Tasha Suri book and the Mindfulness book and The Last to Vanish are all three slower reads for different reasons. I think once I do finish Hearthwitch, I'm going to be looking for possibly another cozy or a romance. So one possibility is to pick up Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. Now, this is a cozy fantasy romance that a woman whose husband passes away, and then after he passes away, his family decide to basically imprison our main character, and she decides the only way to get out of it is to unalive herself. When she picks up a sword to do so, she unsheaths it, and out comes a knight. I guess that they go on a little adventure together, and romance and magical amazingness ensue, as is T. Kingfisher's way of doing things, and I'm looking forward to this. I've heard wonderful things. This is a book that Riley told me to read. It's one of my 12 books from 12 friends, so I really would like to get to it. I'm in my cozy fantasy and romance mood, so I should probably pick this up. It's also on my March TBR, so another reason. But when I'm in these moods, oftentimes, if I should do something, I don't want to as much. So we'll see what happens. I hope to pick this up, but I'm not quite sure yet. Another possible option is How to Marry a Marble Marquee by C.M. Niscasta. She wrote Morning Glory Milking Farm, and I've been really looking forward to picking this book up for a while. It's Regency, but with a, I don't know what it means to be a marble marquee. I think maybe he's a gargoyle. And C.M. Niscasta tends to have like oftentimes really cute vibes, cozy in a way. And I love monster romance and Regency romance. I think this could be a really good combination. I have a good feeling that I'm really going to adore this book, and I really want to pick it up. So that is it. That is everything I have read recently, everything that I am currently reading, and everything that I might pick up next. If you like this video, don't forget to click the like button and comment down below. Let me know what you think I should pick up next and what book you are currently reading. All of my social media is linked down below in the description, including my Goodreads, Instagram, and Twitter. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.
I look away, but I've known you too long. It hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away.